What's going on, everyone? So a three-team trade is in the works with the Golden State Warriors, the Miami Heat, and the Toronto Raptors. Multiple sources, multiple reports have came out about this very thing. So to kind of go over what it would look like, how this would shape up. It's just the framework right now. So they're still working on things. They got to kind of figure out multiple pieces, whatever. Does another team get involved? We'll see how it all plays out. But there's a potential three-team trade framework that could send Jimmy Butler to the Golden State Warriors, Andrew Wiggins to the Toronto Raptors, and Bruce Brown to Miami per HP Basketball. One framework, two sources described as Golden State's hope involved Andrew Wiggins going out in the deal, either directly to Toronto or rerouted to Toronto from Miami for Brown. If Wiggins does not sound like the significant piece Stein reported on to you, well, he's not. But what he is a contract that can be packaged with other things. So again, this is just the framework, the foundation of a potential trade. Now, this doesn't mean that it's going to happen. This doesn't mean that, look for it, but it could. It could happen at any moment, right? This is the beginning stages, the intermediate stage in which ends up developing. Now, this does make sense for all teams. So Miami supposedly had interest in Bruce Brown. There were reports of that a couple weeks ago, that he is like an intriguing inquirer for a team like the Miami Heat, right? He could slot in right alongside a guy in a Tyler Hero, brings that championship experience, that championship DNA, guy that's hustles, does the dirty work, right? Gives you, obviously he's not Jimmy Butler, but gives you some of like the dirty work, the defense, his ability to defend multiple positions, right? Pair that with the Tyler Hero, Khalil Ware, who has had his emergence and has really stepped up, emerged and evolved. Saw it alongside Bam. You can see a path and a vision, right? You can see what could potentially be for a team like Miami. Also, he is an expiring contract, so it maintains flexibility, gives them flexibility in the offseason, and he's a guy that they could look to re-sign in the offseason, who's not going to make, $23 million. He's probably going to make, 13 to 15 million, somewhere in that range. He was expected to sign before he went to Indiana. He was going to sign with the Lakers for the mid-level exception, the full mid-level exception. Lakers ended up signing Gabe Vincent with that, but Bruce Brown was going to sign with the Lakers for that price until Indiana came calling and was like, hey, we'll double it if you come with us. So just something to kind of keep in mind of what his value may end up being. And so for Miami, you finally get to be done. You finally get to wipe your hands clean of the Jimmy Butler saga, and you actually get a piece that still maintains flexibility. And you can kind of evaluate the rest of this season, kind of see, okay, how does he look? And then if you want to or need to, you can now go and re-sign him and keep him long-term. From Toronto's standpoint, they're just getting assets. They bring in a Canadian player, right? So they get to add to their RJ Barretts of the world, right? So they bring in a guy that can slot in. He makes some sense for them as just kind of that 3-and-D wing, a guy that can put the ball on the deck, go score the basketball, kind of bolsters their team, and brings Andrew Wiggins home, right? Brings a guy home. They're just kind of the middleman. They're just kind of the middle pack. And then, the Golden State Warriors, they get their guy in Jimmy Butler that they've wanted to pair and have been linked to for months now at this point, right? And they get to now get that co-star alongside Steph Curry, and kind of Jimmy Butler and Steph Curry, their timeline matches up, right? So it's kind of like that one last push that you can go. Obviously, there'd have to be other pieces involved, other pieces in the mix to match salaries and do all that stuff. But that's the easy part, right? Okay, well, fine, we'll take this guy. No, just give us this guy, right? It's just, what picks are going out. Reports came out that the Warriors are willing to potentially trade their 2025 first, that they're kind of using that to kind of dangle to teams for the right move. They're not just going to trade it. Just be like, oh, yeah. No, but it has to be the right trade, the right piece, the right move. Maybe they could get, like I said, a Jimmy Butler and maybe something else, another piece. They have multiple expiring contracts that they could trade. They have multiple salary players that they could trade. Even Dennis Schroeder, who they acquired recently, even he's still available to be traded still, so they could still reroute him and have him packaged. He's kind of had his struggles on the Warriors team, but if you can bring in a guy like Jimmy Butler to pair with Steph, I still don't know, and I'm not too sure how much that really helps the Warriors. Like, I don't know, are the Warriors now a contender with just adding Jimmy Butler and replacing him with Andrew Wiggins, essentially? I mean, they'd be better, without a doubt. I have no questions about them being better. But are they like one of the best teams in the league? I don't think so. However, no team would want to play them. Right? No one would want to play the Warriors. I mean, playing Steph is enough of a handful in the playoffs. Playing Jimmy Butler is more than a handful in the playoffs. I mean, Jimmy Butler's done more with less than probably any star in the league, right? So now you put them together on the same team, nobody would want to play them in a 7-game series. You would have to beat them, right? Like that is not going to be a cakewalk. That is not going to be a fun experience having to guard Steph and Jimmy Butler. And it would give, Steph one of the better players he's played with in recent years. So, another big kind of thing is that you would have a very motivated Jimmy Butler, right? You'd have a Jimmy Butler that's like, oh, I want to prove, I want to show, it's time to go, right? Let me show Miami and Miami fans and, all the rest of the league what I can really do still, right? And so that could go a long way for a Warriors team because you're going to have a very engaged, very like, oh, it's go time type thing. You have this uphill battle that you have to climb. But, look, Jimmy Butler got to the finals in the play-in. Now, it's also the Eastern Conference, which is very different than the West. But, like, if you get into the Western Conference, right, and you get to, like, the 7th or 8th seed, and you win that first play-in game, or even if, like, you lose that first, but as long as you finish in the 7th or 8th seed, right? If you're playing OKC or the Houston Rockets, especially Houston, I actually think the Warriors would probably beat Houston. I think that'd be like a Sacramento from a couple seasons ago all over again, right? Where the Warriors' just experience would really kind of play a part in that deciding factor. OKC, I think, would be a lot tougher because they do have some experience from last year. But, like, would you really be super confident, right? That Jimmy and, like, would you be shocked if Jimmy and Steph ended up pulling that out and ended up winning that? I wouldn't, right? Like, so, you end up finishing 7th or 8th seed. Ideally, you'd want to finish 7th seed, play Houston. I could see them beating Houston and getting to the second round. Call me crazy. Houston fans might feel otherwise. But I think it's a Sacramento situation all over again. And, Draymond, Steph, Jimmy, like that experience is just, it's tough. It'd be tough to overcome, right? Because Houston is a very young, inexperienced team. But it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see how this plays out, if this 3-team actually ends up getting done, and what manner does it get done. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, and I pass a question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Do you love the idea of this 3-team trade? Do you hate the idea of this 3-team trade? Is there kind of a configuration that you would prefer over what has been reported? However you feel, whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear it either way. Let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. Lets me enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.